Hello, everyone. We're just waiting on the YouTube and Twitch streams to turn on here. Just a few more seconds. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Crypto and Stocks TA live stream. Today is November 10th, 2021. It's about 5:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Wednesday. Please excuse the background noise. There's some construction nearby business, construction noise. So let's go ahead and go to let's check crypto. So first thing first, we have a flash crash on crypto and Bitcoin just in the past 4, 5, 6 hours. And first off, if you want to know why this is happening in the market, it's clear, it's easy to see. There, we had a clear double top on the hourly, on the 4 hour as well. Okay, clear double top resistance, measured move about 4%. 4% to the downside. We hit the 4% to the downside. So if you've seen my two ideas, so basically I just want to clarify for people that my ideas are very long-term ideas, swing trading and investing ideas. So short-term volatility is expected in Bitcoin. If you want to know the fundamental reasons why we pulled back today on Bitcoin, it was actually influenced by the stock market itself. So if let's say we stay on a 15-minute, right? When did this happen? Right at 10 o'clock. Right at 10 o'clock. Okay. What happened in the stock market around that time? Well, we were downtrending all day today. And got some additional volatility off the inflation news. Okay. So we had some economic data coming out. This is why on my chart ideas in my profile, I put the S&P 500 chart next to the Bitcoin chart, right? And if you read the description of my Bitcoin idea, there is a potential downside risk warning of that. If the breakout fails for Bitcoin, we would head down to about 65. If you watch the streams, we know, back to Bitcoin, our big resistance zone was about 63,000. Okay, so this is why I like streaming a little more than publishing chart ideas, because with streaming, we get to see all the details and talk it through. All right, so there's a lot of cryptos that flash crashed and bounced off the 5-minute, 15-minute oversold, like you can even see on Bitcoin itself. We had this big 5-minute oversold bounce, crash and recovery, but the fact remains is that on the 15-minute, we're still in a downtrend. Okay, let me pull up a different chart. I like to use Bitstamp. So we are oversold. It would be interesting to see if we get a nice bounce today, follow through bull move bounce because the stock market is closed, but there could be an issue with Asia investors waking up and digesting the American news that came out in the stock market today. So I'd be a little cautious today, but for day traders, for next 2 hours, this is their bread and butter, volatility in the market. Okay, so this was forecastable. That's why I always put a downside risk warning usually in my ideas. But the fact is we're holding just below 65,000, and that is our resistance zone. Okay, so you'll see a lot of my alerts flashing in the background. Don't mind those. But you'll see like 60,000, 61,000, 63,000. All up in here is all support for now. The reason why we're pulling back also technically is we did kind of get overbought and we're starting to lose momentum in the shorter term time frames. So we did hit this oversold conditions on 5-minute 15, although you want to be a little careful of oversold. Sometimes the bottom is not the bottom of the extended move. But if you're trying to day trade, volatility is the name of the game. We did hit this 1 hour 200 EMA. So we are finding support somewhere, which is normal in crypto. Okay, we hit this right here at 60. We just poked below 63,000. Another way to manage this right there into the 50%, 618. So support levels, we're stuck kind of right here for now. We're flagging to the right. We have a double bottom. That's nice. So it's going to be interesting to see on the 5-minute. We're going to see continuation up to about 65 in the next couple hours. You can see here we have a flag. Excuse me, pennant. Measurable. 2 to 4%. So what needs to happen on Bitcoin if bulls are going to try to recover this trend is tightening range and then bull break up to retest like a 65 or 66. However, like I said, if the Asia market investors wake up, the traders and investors, and they digest the inflation data and the tech sell-off, that could accelerate further selling. So you just really want to watch your support level. So on the downside support, what is there? 64,349, 64,000 even, 63,000. These are larger support levels on the downside that we're watching for. But on 5-minute, 15-minute, we are downtrending. Okay, 1 minute started downtrending, then we lost the 5-minute and the 15. The 1 hour, the longer term picture though is still holding. Okay, so just because we have a flash crash doesn't mean crypto's dead. It just means that if we zoom out, okay, let's start from an investor standpoint. If we zoom out on Bitcoin and understand that, okay, we've been in an upstairs uptrending pattern. If everything was to go well, we should have penetrated through 70,000 and try to retest 75, 80, 90, up to 100,000. But that might take 6 months to 12 months. Could take a year for this to happen, right? Because if we're talking about what's happening today in this moment in time, okay, this is why I drew my idea and just published it, is that on the S&P 500, we're at this top trendline resistance. Also, Tesla has been selling off because Elon Musk confirmed he was going to basically sell his share of the stake. And combine that with the S&P right at this double resistance zone, that's why we're having a sell-off right now. So if we look at Dow Jones, also we're selling off. If we look at NASDAQ, we're also selling off. We take a quick look at Tesla, we're selling off with the bounce. So this looks like Bitcoin, doesn't it? So the correlations and the psychology is very similar. We just flip to a Bitcoin chart, looks on the hourly, 4 hour. The hourly pattern looks very, very similar. The big red into the bounce. So we found a temporary support at 63 to 64,000. And what remains to be seen for today is, are we going to bounce up or not? So just keep in mind that we just hit the all-time highest price of Bitcoin ever, just about 69,000. But then we flagged an inflation data and downside momentum, and the shorts took over, stop losses got stopped out. So why is this important? It's important because in the short term, we're back testing our support levels. This is our support zone from, I'm going to call it like 60,000 to 63,000. This is the support zone right now. Maybe all the way down to 58. This entire structure, you see this right here that I'm circling? The previous upside down head and shoulders, which we completed that move and then we double topped. Because this is why, as a technical analyst, we got to trust the charts. And this is a clear double top. We lost the support of 67, falling back down to 63 to $64,000 Bitcoin. But is the Bitcoin bull run over? No, not yet. You see a little bit more evidence on the weekly, maybe before we call that. So what we could see for the next week in the short term is, right, we try to get this higher high So if we can't push up higher past 70, 75,000, 80, which would be great if that happened, but if it doesn't happen, we might lose momentum and fade back down. That's why on the downside, I'm always looking at like 50,000 or 53 because we have a support here on the weekly chart. You draw a trend line, you could also see somewhere in this yellow zone, like a 53, 54, if we lose 63,000 and 60,000 on these medium term time frames. So what I'm going to do now is just go through every single crypto real fast and see what we see. All the charts are going to look very similar, but it's always good to just check. All right, so we'll start with total, and I'm going to look intraday. All right, we have a lot of drawings on this thing. But with total, we just broke out of the ascending triangle about 2 weeks ago and try to maintain an uptrend. Okay, so once we have this volatility because of this, the rally is not completely over. You see, we just fell down to a support level. This is our first support level right here on total. This blue dot. So the trend line is holding. If we lose that, we could have some serious short-term volatility down to like 2.6 trillion, right? But like I said, we can fall back all the way down to 2.4 trillion and still maintain an uptrend. I'm saying this, we could still fall back down to here for the rest of November and still be able to bounce up. It's possible, even just for a lower high, right? If it's going to start downtrending, it'll still stop somewhere and bounce once at least, right? So there's two outcomes to show there. Total 2, back testing kind of this resistance right at the top of the resistance. Total 3, back testing our resistance, our former support zone as well. Okay, a Bitcoin market cap. Again, we did double tap at the resistance that we've been drawing for many weeks now and pull back just to about that 618. This is why also we're bouncing right into the 618, bounce to the 50%. Are we going to get up to the 382 today? We'll see. We'll see next couple hours. Bitcoin futures, very, very critical. So you see on futures, let me erase this yellow box. On futures, Bitcoin futures, there's a gap support here on the hourly, on the 4 hour. So this is kind of why we're also stopping here. It's that support zone. But if you zoom out on the 4 hour, you can see we're kind of in this upper, I need to redraw this. We're in the upper trend line zone, right? It actually might look more like this, where it penetrated out, back tested the wedge several times, and then there's some intraday divergence down, weakness. Almost oversold on the hourly. So again, our support zone is just about 63,000 to 60,000. If we lose 63 to 60,000 in like the next week, meaning to the downside, then we might have a problem on Bitcoin because, you know, we're talking shorts and stop losses. We might get some deeper, much deeper sell off. So again, just a little short 5 minute, 15 minute. We're not talking about the bottom of Bitcoin. Okay. So it really depends on what time frame and perspective you have coming into this market. If you're a 1 minute, 5 minute trader, okay, your mindset is totally different than mine. If you're a 1 hour, 4 hour trader, swing trader, then you're looking for relative value. If you're an investor, one red day actually doesn't matter, right? You have to just think about it like that. If you're a hodler, one red day off Tesla fear and inflation fear like doesn't matter, because how many times have we seen fear happen in this market with the strong recovery eventually? It's a matter of when will the bull market continue, not is crypto dead. That I'm not thinking about is crypto dead or not. Crypto's still alive because the SEC and our US government said they're not going to ban crypto or Bitcoin, although they want to make a USA stable coin. Regulation can really mess up Bitcoin in the short term. Taxes, right? Flash crash. So those are, and all-time high fears. Okay. Also the dominance. We did have a quick bounce on the Bitcoin dominance chart. This is why we also bounced on Bitcoin. Dominance bounce, holding this 50% retrace. And we just need to see a higher high to see Bitcoin recover. All right, now let's move on to the other cryptos. Here we go. So restarting with Bitcoin. Let me use a cleaner chart. And you're probably wondering, like, why am I talking about Bitcoin so much? Is if you really know how to master Bitcoin, then you're able to get a better grasp on the entire market. So again, please keep in mind the Bitcoin idea I released on my profile a couple of days ago. That's a very, very long-term investment idea. It could be years, right? So where are we with Bitcoin? Let's use our EMAs as support. I'm going to stay on an hourly here, hourly chart. So we just hit the support. So now we look at two scenarios. We did hit this bounce, okay? On the 15-minute, where could we bounce to some of our EMA resistances? So we're just bouncing to maybe the possible 65,000, or excuse me, 65,471. Asian market's going to open in about an hour or two, right? So maybe 65, upper 65, upper 66 could be our first test of the flag, right? We did double bottom. Okay, great. Double bottom of about 1 or 2%. So if we see that target met, nice. But what you want to watch out for is we've been downtrending, right? There's a 5-wave LA wave pattern here. So are we going to get the continuation up for the next couple of days, or are we just going to reject it here and stop? That's what we need to watch the price action if you're a trader, if you're intraday. Okay, but swing trade is like, oh, we just bounced. Very nice. Again, my easy. Anyone, if someone happened to catch the bottom of the bounce, nice. 4%. But on the 15-minute, there is momentum. It's just a matter of how much follow through will we have for the rest of the night. Next, Ethereum. So you can see here our EMA is still holding as support. Let me close some of this stuff. We did break through and we're retesting our support to the downside. We have plenty of downside on Ethereum. Support levels 4,500, 4,300, 4,000. 4,000 is our big line in the sand because the 4,000 to 4,300 range in this blue zone, the big blue zone, is our support level on Ethereum, right? So one like red day is not, it's not going to kill Ethereum, right? On a daily chart. We just tested this bottom trend line. Okay, so don't panic, is what I'm saying. No need to panic if you're a longer term trader. So this is good. We're going to back test the support. This is great. This is good. Natural. This happens all the time. And what we need to see is if we're going to retest the uptrend is we need to see the price recover and actually turn into an uptrend. Okay. The crypto market's not just going to go straight up or straight down. There's usually a little bit of rest recovery period for shorts taking their position, closing their positions. So here as well, we could bounce up, get to an overbought region on the 1 minute, 5 minute pull back, and then we're going to retest maybe this lower 4,600 range within the next 12 to 24 hours and then see if the bulls are going to buy and follow through bounce or not. The problem, though, is if we keep getting fear selling the next couple days happening in the stock market, then Bitcoin's going to have some additional volatility. We just want to watch for that very carefully. But instead of just panicking, right, is somewhere in here, if someone's trying to day trade this, put a tight stop loss, like a 1% or a 2%, and then just put the trade on with a small amount of capital if you're trying to day trade it. You know what I mean? Don't put 100% all in now because it's the most volatile time right now. I would not do that. Educational advice, right, for myself. But if you're going to try to trade it, just commit to the stop loss, small amount of capital, and then just try to do it, right, on whatever time frame you're trying to do. So Ethereum, finding that temporary support, but let's just pretend if we do get significant downside, let's just pretend if the tech market and S&P starts selling off for like a week straight, it's like, okay, then we might see some correlation happen with the crypto on the longer term RSI, for example. For example, like on a 4-hour Ethereum, we haven't hit oversold for almost a month and a half now. We've been in a nice uptrend for over 30 days. So I watch out for that. Support, I'll call it out one more time before we move on. 4,600, 45.59. Right, the lower part 44.50, and then like a 4,300 down here in the zone. But it would be interesting to see if we're going to hold, because plenty of times Ethereum did hold this low 1 hour oversold. Okay, my alerts are going crazy right now because the market's moving. Right, but again, even I'm watching my other charts. The Ethereum 1 hour, the Bitcoin 1 hour is hitting a relative high in the 1 minute. See, this is why we are pulling back. Okay, so in times of volatility, if you're like brand new or beginner, like maybe be very, very, very cautious, be very tight. Because just because we hit a 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute oversold does not mean that's the bottom of whatever's happening right now in crypto. Right? If you want to see a bottom, like you want to be super patient and wait for like a daily, weekly bottom, right? But if you're like medium term, 1 hour, 4 hour, could be the bottom. Next, Binance coin. We have our alerts set up. Binance getting a little overextended. Let me try to clean this up for everybody. So you see, we're kind of overextended above the EMAs. And these are our support entries. So you see why setting up alerts are important, because the first day trade entry got broken through. Let me erase that. But the second day trade entry was a profitable potential trade, 2% bounce. Hold on. Let me just turn my alerts off because those are going to go insane all stream. I'll turn it back on later. So the issue is we kind of lost all our 1 hour EMAs. So quick little flash crash on a Binance coin, and we did lose the trend. If you look very carefully, let me turn everything off. On our H1, we just had this little downtrend and then tried to hit, this is when Bitcoin hit the 69,000 today, and then boom, lower low to where our 600 level. So where's our next level support if we start moving to the downside a little more today? Next level support, we look left, like a 569, 555, 544. If you're a longer term trader, you could probably Fibonacci the bottom of this move, the bottom of the triangle at the top here, and get some additional support levels. I know there's a lot of lines, but 382 would be like 533. We just pierced the 584 level. We could hit 499, 443. That's why it's good to have some big perspective and targets, because just in case, that's what I'm saying in my idea, just in case Bitcoin breakout fails, we're going to look at some downside, right? So where's the downside on this trend line? Like a 540, 550. That would be potentially long-term 10% more down. So that's why. Always want to be a little careful. Don't want to get too hyped. But we hit this upper trend line support. That's our first line in the sand. So as long as that holds like a $600, that's fine. This is normal. This is normal. Because look how many pullbacks we've had, right? As long as we maintain the uptrend, it's fine. It's normal. Nothing to panic about. But if we start seeing some heavy selling for the next 3, 5, 7 days, then there's something wrong. Okay. 1 day, 2 days, no problem. As long as the uptrend remains intact. Okay. If we lose this 575 and we start downtrending into 530, into 500, then we have a big problem on the market. Okay, I'm kind of going a little slower, but than I'd like. So I might not be able to do all the coins, but we'll do some of the top coins here. Cardano. Let me just redraw this. Cardano on the daily. Let's get our support levels. Support levels. right here. So you could see with the larger, bigger support level somewhere in the like $1.50 range long term, because we already lost this potential trend line, this one, the July trend line, September, and we're going sideways right now on Cardano. If I move intraday, let me use a 4-hour chart. Intraday, you can see that you can kind of feel and see on the market this thing was weak. It was downtrending into a symmetrical triangle, lost it, tried to maintain a triangle uptrend, but then lost that due to volatility on inflation and tech sell-off today. But so now our new support is $1.92 down here. You could draw yourself a little yellow box, $1.92 to $1.80 range. That's all we have to just stare at Cardano right now, because it depends on your perspective and your time frame again, because there's a trend line down here. There's double support down there. We just tested it and bounced off of that. So are we going to get follow through or not? That's a question. Meaning, our bulls, is that the end of the sell-off or not? That's the only thing I'm worried about right now. Or not even worried about, I'm just thinking about it in the market. Okay, we hit the support. Great. Great. But are European traders and Asia traders going to follow through? And will American traders tomorrow follow through as well and say, you know what? Nothing to worry about. Let's keep buying. Or are we going to get some serious stock correlation again, like the early 2020, where all markets fall? Like, maybe, right? You have to always have that scenario in the back of your mind just in case, because the Federal Reserve is starting the tapering program at the end of this month. So it makes sense that institutions need time to sell. And again, we'll look at stocks at the end, but stocks has that upper trend line resistance, meaning the ceiling, and we're just rolling down from that right now. Bitcoin on the short term, again, fading down for now. So again, you have to realize that Asian traders, the Asia market's going to wake up and they're going to see this red in the market right now, and they're going to see stocks and they're going to see this, and then how can we anticipate what their reaction is going to be to the market? Anyone who got stopped out already got stopped out overnight, right? But if someone just initiate a position, if they have no stop loss and shorts wake up, they might try to capitalize on this moment and try to retest the bottom supports on everything. So just watch out for that. So hopefully Cardano support, I made it clear that we have a $1.90 support. That's kind of our big line in the sand for now. But on a daily, Cardano has been kind of weak, right? It's already been up like over 1,000%. So just keep that in mind. So Solana. You see here we're riding this trend line on Solana. Very nice. We just pulled back to the support. Now, the big picture zoom out. Let me just make sure. Okay, this second trend line. Okay, yeah, it's two trend lines. It's correct. So what you want to watch out for on Solana is just looking at the support on the downside. These trend lines are correct, the yellow ones. So we have our immediate downside support at 215. We just tested that today. Kind of zoom out here. But we still have our hourly and our 4-hour uptrend. Our 1 minute is downtrending. Our 5 minute is downtrending. Our 15-minute is also downtrending. But our H1 and our H4 and our daily is still uptrending, okay? That's why short term, we're bearish. Medium term, still bullish. Long term, still bullish, right? That's why it depends on what time frame you're thinking about and who you are as a trader. Because if you look at the H1, it's just a pullback down to support, but there is a head and shoulders here. Right? That's what we've got to check and zoom in. So if this is a real head and shoulders, which it definitely is starting to look like it, we just lost the breakdown of support, 9% to the downside from this break. Our 9% target is our support down here, right at 215. That's the target for the bears on the hourly swing trading. We just basically tested it, but the problem is now we have a clear bearish setup. So on the price, so if this thing cannot break above 236, I would anticipate some further downside retest of 217, meaning this, like that kind of price action. Okay. So what this really reminds me of, and this kind of feels like, is that September 7th El Salvador sell the news crash, right? We haven't seen this much red in a long time, since September 7th. So I'm anticipating probably the similar kind of price action will happen where if we get continued downside, it'll just push down as far as we can go till many time frames are oversold, low RSI, and then shorts will give up or not give up, but close their position. Longs will re-enter, and then we might see another uptrend attempt in the long term. So that's why it just depends. I'm trying to, talk to people with multiple time frames because most people are like crypto day traders, I think, on the stream. Not many investors. All right, but Doge, this is what I was looking at on Doge is you have a large symmetrical triangle on the daily, except, and I kept telling some of my business partners, is that if we don't break out of here to like 30, okay, if we don't do this, then Dogecoin is kind of in trouble. Also, Doge is very correlated with Tesla, Elon Musk, and Shiba Inu, and Bitcoin. But this to me is just like a Tesla sell-off right here. Bitcoin sell-off, right? But is it still in an uptrend? It actually still kind of is. Okay, so it's not downtrending yet. This is a clear downtrend on the left side. This side we're still kind of uptrending, although it's debatable now that as you go in intraday, it's starting to turn into a downtrend. Intraday. But the clear levels is our support is still like a 20 cents to 23 cents. Anywhere down here, 20, 23, 21, 20. If we lose 20 cents, then I think we'd be in big trouble on Dogecoin, right? Because we haven't lost 20 cents to 15 cents in like 5 months. So just watch out for those levels. But if you zoom out way out, we're talking long term on Dogecoin. I mean, if you fib this thing from bottom to top, where are we? We're getting stuck right below the 618. So our big target is 16 cents or 9 cents. If it ever gets down there, there's some value there for some value investors. Because this whole Tesla issue and this whole, Dogecoin and tech sell-off and inflation fears and Fed tapering, this fear needs to get heavily priced into the market. And then when the fear's over, and it, just to give you a quick aside story, is you have to think about it. Why I was talking to one of my mentors today is why is the Federal Reserve in the USA starting their tapering program now? Because they waited for the economy, for the job market to kind of stabilize and for COVID to stabilize to a certain degree. Because we saw the data coming out this week, unemployment levels have been at the lowest since the pandemic started, meaning people have their jobs again. There's the lowest unemployment, meaning there's less people out of work. People have more jobs again. People going out. USA reopened the vaccination travel for tourism and for business purposes, right? Countries opening up their travel, right? This is happening on a global scale right now for many countries. And so the tapering program for the Federal Reserve is going to last for about the next year, they said, for 1 year, starting from about the end of November. So to me, it would make sense that, okay, the big question now is, can the stock market, can the crypto market stand on its 2 feet without any Federal Reserve support holding up the stock market up? Because the theory is, and I think this is what the Federal Reserve is trying to do, is make sure people have their jobs so that the economy, the money's flowing from supply and demand, and people have money incoming and they have discretionary money outgoing that they can spend. So when people spend money, they're buying stuff, right? They're buying, and so that's making the economy move. right? So the same idea applies for commodities like crypto is when people have money, where are they going to spend it? Are we going to spend it on Bitcoin right now? Are we going to spend it on crypto? If the stock market crashes, people are going to sell, right? Then we might see a little bit of a flash crash correlation on crypto like we saw today. But I'm saying like 6 months or a year from now, what's our outlook going to look like in terms of people with jobs and making money? And then next year, next April, next October, what are people going to think about in terms of buying? But in the short term, okay, we just focus on price of technical analysis. All right, so that's a quick little just kind of food for thought of what's going to happen next 3, 6, 9 months, stocks and crypto. The only thing is on the 4 hour is we try to make this higher high right here, like this. Higher high, higher low. We were supposed to, on a bull case, make a higher high up to 36, 37. Okay, that's what I was hoping for. But, with the stock market at a relative high and everything we talked about in the last like 40 minutes is, okay, if we're not going to do that, then we're going to make this is a 4-hour downtrend almost. So at some point, we're going to hit our low and then try to make our lower high. Excuse me. So we can see continued selling on some of these short-term time frames. Like I'm looking at Bitcoin on my other chart. We just rejected down from the 65,000 and we're holding trying to hold 64.75 right now. So for Dogecoin, somebody's looking for value again. It's like a 23, 21, 19. Okay, 23, 21, 19. Let's move on. Uni. So Uni in a sideways symmetrical triangle pattern. Uni kind of weak. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this, just this large consolidation on the right side. Okay. Literal consolidation. It was almost an uptrend attempt into consolidation right here. So all I'm going to say for Uni is just watch for the breakdown of 24.31. That's your support. If you lose 24.31, then you're looking at 22.32, 20, and then 19. Right? Just watch out for that. Litecoin. Litecoin is different. Litecoin is like the only one that went up in the past like 2 days. That had some hype on it because I saw a lot of people chatting that Litecoin's going to 1,000 and said maybe, but not today. So we just hit this first trend line on the way down. We could just measure this move if you want short-term targets. We're hitting our, let me turn on pivots so you can actually see numbers. Yeah, that's too long. All right, so you can see here, this is a dollar value. Just this 254 level is our first kind of support. And we were uptrending on this H1 chart, the hourly. We just broke it. Okay, serious breakdown here. And so if we lose 250, I would expect to pull back down to 242 or 228. All right, so this is kind of more swing tradey zones on the downside right here. Okay, but again, if you're a beginner, if you're brand new, I would recommend patience is key. Okay, if you're a scalper or day trader, then this is this is your environment. Volatility on the entire market, stocks and crypto. This is your zone, right? This is your market. But for me, I'm a swing trader, a much longer term investor. So, I kind of pullbacks are fine with me. Pullbacks are fine. I mean, things get cheaper, discount, totally fine. Just a matter of how severe is it going to be. All right, so what I'll watch out for Litecoin is if it's going to be a textbook downtrend and not just like a flush crash down, is we should see at some point maybe a little bounce, because maybe if it's going to turn into a clear downtrend, it might do this over time in the next like week or two or next couple of days. But again, like El Salvador crash day, September 7th, it was severe. Okay, so just maybe keep that in the back of your mind that that's possible. All right, Bitcoin Cash. You can see even right there when I zoomed in, we did have the nice almost 16%, right? Oh, and by when I mean mentor, it's not stock trading mentor. It's a business mentor. It's something else. Um, it's just like business colleagues. I mean, someone who's older. But back to stocks and crypto is we hit this higher high right here, higher high, higher low, higher high, right? 717, right? And then if you look intraday, we had this clear double top M setup on Bitcoin. It's just everywhere. This is why we're pulling back and shorts take over. And they're just like saying no to the bulls and just rejecting it down. So the first measured move of this has been complete. The second measured move down would be $600, negative 12% to the downside. All right, to like 602 range, right? Because we have this. So this first support held at 645. Now 600 needs to try to see if we can hold that. I'll answer that question a little bit more after this. But you can see our downside trend line just hit. All right, so you could also Fibonacci this little move here in the past 24 hours. And we hit the 50%, bounce up to 382. We might fall back to 50%. This, you have to kind of look intraday to really, really grasp what is going on right now with some of these coins. 15 minutes pretty good if you want to look at it, because 15 minute we had an uptrend on this left side here, on the left side. Then we double topped, and then we're down on the right side. But we should bounce. We should bounce if it's going to be a textbook oversold bounce. But if we don't, then it's gonna need to crash as far as possible, and then we're gonna bounce. But on the longer term time frames, there's a long way to go down here. It's quite a long way to go down from the top of this move, right? The second 12% would bring us back down to the 200 EMA on our 4-hour chart, right at $600. But for now, the 650, 647 range is holding, which is fine. That's why, because I know longer term trade. Oops, I know longer term trading. So messy now. This is a different chart. Just really want to show you what I'm talking about. Longer term trading is right here. This is totally fine. We could pull back to anywhere above 630 as long as 630 holds. We could create a new higher high eventually. But if it fades, then we have a problem. There's a big problem. Okay, because then this 4-hour uptrend is wrong. Like it's not there anymore. All right, so for swing trading, that's why it takes longer for the price on the chart to develop. Okay, let's move on to Link. Link has been a little bit quiet. I do want to mention though that on my Sunday stream, where I gave like 50 to 60 chart setups and ideas, all of those within 24 hours, they almost all went up, right? So I just need to point that out to people. And all the take profit targets were hit, like on Link right here. I just drew this thing, and this is a 13% profit idea, and it hit yesterday. If someone had stop loss, they'd take that profit and they'd be done with this trade. So just need to remind people of that. All right, so the 4-hour, we were in a 4-hour uptrend. Very nice. Very nice. Almost ascending triangle pattern. This is mimicking Bitcoin correlation. And in the H4, we're still in the uptrend, pulling back to support. Okay, so it's our first line in the sand right now, our $33. If we lose that, you can see the trend line supports down here at 30. Want to check the intraday 5-minute. Yeah, everything's so correlated with Bitcoin right now. Let me just double check SPY as well. Let me just quick correlation with SPY. Yes, so definitely we are correlated with SPY. It's just there's a little bit too much downside momentum on stocks right now and fear in the market. This is our high of that trend line resistance. This is actually a head and shoulders on a 5-minute. Like wow. So there are quite a few large setups here. We didn't really hit the 1% target to the downside yet. 0.9% from the breakout. Maybe we did hit it. almost. But like I said, when let's see what the Asian market does and European market overnight. Let's see how they respond to this. Clear 15-minute head and shoulders on S&P 500, right at our top trendline resistance zone. Okay, so there could be some issues here. So Link, I would just watch for that, meaning this support level and too many prices here, but you can see all throughout the upper $30 is our support range. Next one, ALGO. ALGO. Nice intraday pump. Probably have to erase this chart because it's getting dirty. But ALGO on our day. Start the weekly to explain this. So ALGO, higher high, low, high, low. I was expecting us to try to hit this higher high, right? Because if you really think about trend is it should have done that. But if we really look at the charts and understand that we could have 2 weeks of pullback before another rally up, right? Because you can see these two red candles. I don't know if you can see it, but two red candles and then at least another rally attempt. So we had two red candles and it could take us several months maybe to retest to try to get a higher high. That's why as a long-term investor, not really scared right now. Not really scared right now. If you're a day trader, you're probably like super stressed out right now in your mind. But if you're a swing trader, it's like, it's yellow flag right now. Meaning, just depends on the trend. So let me go ahead and draw on my chart the big Fibonacci's. Algo had a nice run. I mean, it's flagging right now. The bull pennant on the daily, very nice. Okay, so if the longer term setup is like a plus or minus 20%, right? 20% would be 228 on the top side. You lose this 20% going down to 150. Just keep those two big targets in mind as we're battling out the bulls versus the bears. The only thing is it's kind of turned into a consolidation, large flag pennant, and we just fell back down into our 200 zone, 200 EMA zone. Because this was nice. This bounce was setting up, and then we failed, right? So that's why it's important to know that technical charts only is not like the holy grail. You know what I'm saying? Now, I hope everyone watching and following me understands why you need to look at the stock market too. It's because there's a perfect example. This week is a perfect example why we always have to track SPY and some stocks that are related to crypto. Actually, it's the other way around, that crypto is related to the stock market because the stock market's a much bigger market globally. So lots of momentum on our 4 hour and pulling back here. But are we still trending? Well, with this deep pullback, Algo on the H4 kind of lost its uptrend because I can see this. In the very short term, it's supposed to be here. We should have stopped at $2, but we penetrated. We fell back down to 190. So it looks like we're getting some deep penetration on the price. This is such a very strange pump, almost like an institution planned it. It kind of feels like it, right? Because you have a huge pump up, they need liquidity to flash it down. You see that happen in the stock market a lot. It's like a big whale. It's like Free Willy, that movie that the whale pops out of the ocean and then crashes down. That happens a lot. So, gonna watch out for that. Just want to make sure I have the big support levels like $1.84. Let me pull up pivots for this example. So you could just use pivots, for example, like $1.77 or $1.67 if you want some big targets of where we might be pulling back. And then just watch the 15-minute. Because like I said, if we reject on the 15-minute right here, if we reject down, then we'll retest the support and try to see further downside. Okay, so just the first oversold is not the bottom of usually of any market, right? So just kind of watch out for that. I'm seeing intraday selling. So it's really looking like it's going to be a September 7th moment all over again today. So again, I mean, if you live through that, if you traded through that and lived through September 7th, I'm talking about this on the chart. Let's actually look at it instead of just talking about it. Where's September 7th? Right, right here. Okay. So on that particular day, we had a flash crash of Bitcoin of negative 18 to negative 11%. And eventually the whole move went down 25, 23% from the top to the bottom, 25%. Okay. So let's just pretend that's going to happen again. If 25% happens, that would bring us back down to $51,000 Bitcoin. Although I think we will stop at 53 because there's strong support under here and on top of the arrow, right? But let's just take a look at the gray arrow right here on intraday as our guide, because when we get flash crashes, it's good to look at that. Hold on, I need a market. Let me just go to date. Let's rewind back to 9/7. Let's go back to 9/7. There you go. Right here. All right. So if we rewind and we look at this for education, is we had our head and shoulders 15-minute pattern, just kind of like S&P 500, right? But today it's a double top pattern, like this pattern. And so again, we could see further sell off, and then we get a flag attempt like this, right? Which doesn't break through because we had some heavy selling from Wall Street the next morning. That's why the next 24 hours is going to be very important to see. And then we flush down, and if you look at the RSI, like we got crushed down to like 6. And then another flag attempt which failed. I remember this frustrated a lot of people. The flag attempt that failed and barely tried, and then we got faded down again. We lost the support. So always watch for support and resistance. This is why this is the fundamentals of TA right here. If we lose the support, shorts, that's a signal for the shorts to attack down. They're going to attack down till they close on a oversold. And then finally, after some good news, we consolidated for like 2 weeks or a week. Okay. And the market had volatility of negative 20% average. And then we had a up cross attempt, and then we flushed down again, right? So, and then finally we had a big pattern of our support zone like this. So this is what I'm really looking for in the market, not just one oversold zone. I'm looking for some serious support zones in the market to re-enter, to buy some more, right? And then it turned into a downtrend. So if someone's trying to be aggressive swing traders, they look for some serious support, not just one candle down. That's day trader style. Because on a swing trade chart, it's just going to look like one stick down. But on a 5-minute chart, it might look like, a bounce up like that. But for swing trading, I'm looking for some serious support in the market, or at least a trend change reversal, which usually takes like weeks. Right? This whole move took 21 days, so at least a week. Right? So that's why for me, I'm just relaxing right now. If we're going to turn into a downtrend like this for a week or two straight because the stock market needs to sell off, we need an RSI reset, we need all the fear to reset. We've got some holidays coming up. Get people feeling confident and good and strong again with their account. Get it back into the market and see if people are going to buy back when we hit a bottom. Okay? And so, yeah, I didn't really go over every single crypto, but I don't think I have to because the setup is looking very similar on like every single chart. So it's more like the psychology and the TA education and the technical indicators that'll guide you through this process. we have flash crash, like how are you going to deal with this thing? Okay, well, you have support all throughout here and all throughout the left side of the price. Okay, but if you start right here, you can see all I'm saying is you just have to draw two lines: 65,199, 64,260. You box this thing in right here. And again, if we're going to maintain an uptrend, this thing's got a higher high, higher low, and boom, pierce through all these EMAs up to 66. But that would establish our long-term lower high. So we could fade down from there again, just like September 7th, picture in our mind, right? And then we might bounce up to here to retest the resistance. And then I want to see some like serious support where we're not going to go down below like 60,000. That's what I'm hoping for. And then you might see the continuation. It happens like every single time, right? Almost every single time. It's greater than 50% chance that something like that might happen unless there's some crazy news pump. Right? So we're just at the beginning stages of right now. That's why you don't hear me make some huge call like we're going to 100,000 Bitcoin right now. I was like, no, not really. In the short term, it's just stuck between these two levels. This is all you got to worry about right here. So what I'm going to do for myself is put two alerts. That's all you have to do. So flash crash, resistance price, 15-minute chart. Like that. Whoa, no. I'm going to copy the right thing here. And then our support to downside 64248. So if I'm not going to be on my computer staring at the charts all day, which I'm not, this is our support price. Okay, because I'm a swing trader, I just need to put my alerts and orders deep, and then I with my risk management and stuff like that, and then I'm out. So all we have to do is maintain, hold above 64,000 tonight. If we maintain and hold above 64,000 tonight for 24 hours, that's good. Very good. Very good. If we lose it though, I mean, where are we looking next? There's not much support in this middle zone right here, so we're looking at like a $63,000 Bitcoin. But eventually, it would be nice if a trend starts developing, right? Because this is downtrending. Even right here, November 2 to November 6, it's downtrending, and somebody could have panicked and said, "Oh, Bitcoin's gonna die or crypto's gonna die," right? But you just use TA and be like, "Well, if I'm a swing trader, I could buy down here and put some risk on, or I could buy the breakout up here. Either one, depending on your style and tolerance." So for me, what I'm watching for 15-minute is, for now, the only real resistance trend line we have right now is this one right here. So unless we break that severely to the upside like this, we're just in a downtrend right now. I'm hoping we could double bottom just for the bull's sake. Double bottom here right at this support, and let's see some continuation up on a measured move. That would be nice. 1%. Back up 65. Let's get some bull momentum back in this market. Okay. Let me just take a quick look because I went an hour already. Let me look at everything really, really fast, see if there's just anything huge that jumps out at me that needs immediate attention, like an emergency. Just go through all these. I'm starting from the bottom up. I'm looking at the smallest liquidity coins first. Again, all this hitting support and balance rejection. There is momentum building, so it's going to be a matter of, are we going to establish a higher low? Meaning, stop here and try to bounce up tonight. Everything looks almost the exact same. Correlations, the bots, it's all there. Well, here's a good example, though. If you put support, like on this blue that I drew on some stream at some other point in time, right, the yellow, is that if you put an order down there and alert, you can sometimes catch some really good bottoms. Bottom of fishing plays in the market. Now, some of these cryptos, like you see ONT is kind of right, rejecting below, but ZRX got crushed down a little more. Very similar on a 15-minute chart. That's why we don't have to look at all of these. Just pick your favorite larger market cap if you're a day trader, and then just try to do the TA and get some setups going on for you. Chart setups, risk management. HNT, very interesting, HNT. So here's another example of on the September 7th flash crash that not every crypto is going to crash down. Anything that has uptrending momentum, this is what I'm saying to watch out for, is HNT is volatile though. But at the same time, is you could see the downtrend happen, right? The downtrend, you hit this lower low, okay? Then you bounce back up, but you start to see follow through, meaning you start to see buy, 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 buy. Because if it wasn't going to happen, it would have rejected and you would have retested down. Okay, so you kind of want to look for this kind of thing happening where it goes down and either stops here and goes back up, or just stops here and bounces and goes up like that, because a day trader who caught this up 8% in the past 2 hours. Very nice trade. See, the other ones didn't do that on a 5-minute. Although it's possible, right? Like literally some of the Asian markets are going to open in 18 minutes at the making of this video. So the next like 30 minutes are going to be very telling. The next few hours. It's going to be very easy to see which way we're going. The only good thing is we're not at a high price. You know what I'm saying? It's like just 3 days ago, we're kind of all oscillators and everything was telling me, it's kind of high right now. That's why on Friday stream and Sunday stream, I was saying it's kind of high right now in the price. Like I want to see things cool off and pull back down first before I make an entry. And this is exactly what's happening, right? We can have our big long-term target ideas, but I'm always looking intraday as well. SHIB with a Shiba Inu with a nicer bounce right at the 50% here. If you look here, probably on a 5-minute, this is more like HNT play where it was downtrending severely. But then you see this, instead of falling down right here on the rejection from the 4,800, we have continuation uptrend. Okay, this is how you get into the market. Not all of them did it. It's 2 out of what, like 50 coins. Those chances are not really great. But if you're really hunting for something, you got to. This is kind of that picture you're looking for. If you want to see an uptrend reversal, it's a clear reversal. Upside down hidden shoulders reversal. Maybe we'll see an additional 3% move on this tonight. Maybe if this survives, which it might not, but price above the EMA is nice. So far, SHIB and HNT holding the fort down in terms of their price. ALGO trying to hold the support at $1.90, like we just said, crashed back to $1.90 and bounced off there. Okay, so you guys understand what I'm saying. Everybody understands what I'm saying, right? If you don't understand what I'm saying, please let me know. Okay, so now I talked to Hour for this. Let's move on to some requests now. Hopefully I alleviated some of the stress or the fear or the panic of what's happening, right? It's just the final recap before we do a bunch of requests is, first thing first is you have to understand your time frame. Are you a long-term investor, swing trader, medium-term time, or a day trader or a scalper, like very, very short-term time frame? Okay, then you just get your big support levels on the chart. For me, I know Fibonacci from here to here, from low to high, okay? If we seriously go down in Bitcoin, we could retest 60,000. We're testing the first support. We could retest 60,000, 58,000, 54,000, 48,000, 43,000, 40,000, okay? So as long as we hold above short-term 60,000, medium-term $53,000, we're still fine. We're still fine, okay? But if we start losing in the next like week or two, the hourly 4-hour trend, and this thing starts doing this, then I'm going to say we have a problem. We have a problem. We would. Okay. But if it's just short term, like 3 days, oversold, low purple, and then we bounce, That's fine, right? So just kind of plan it out for yourself. Try not to FOMO in on anything. If you miss something in crypto or stocks, don't FOMO in. Set up a plan for the next trade, right? If you really don't know what to do, just turn the computer off. You know what I'm saying? Because if when you're in that emotional fear state or like panic state, nervous state, or like your heart's pounding state, there's a higher chance that you're going to make a mistake and lose money in the market trading. So unless you have open positions that you need to watch, just turn the computer off or switch to a longer term time frame and do this and understand the big levels you can look at and then don't worry about anything. You know what I mean? All right, here we go. Let's start requests, the next final phase of this. Tesla. Before I do stocks, let's just look at the S&P, just the visual. So my idea is we were in ascending triangle for this whole year and we hit the top line trend line resistance. So if you just look back in history, every time we hit the top trend line resistance, we rejected. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the 8th time we're up here. And we have a catalyst, which is Tesla sell-off, which is inflation, which is tapering. Okay, so the downside targets for this move on the S&P 500, now Fibonacci here, would be 459. So we could go down another almost 1%, which would be big news. If we have a real serious crash in the market, like a -3 to -5% to bring us back down to this trend line over time. But let's take a look at some of these oversolds. Kind of like Bitcoin, right? Oversold all the way up to the 1 hour. So we might see a little intraday bounce. But if not, I mean, you just see continued selling. Shorts love to wait for a setup and crush to the downside. Now that we have this in our minds, where we are, we're not low, okay? This is not, I remember my September 30 stream, I went long here on stocks, right? And I sold. And I didn't FOMO in because I know we're getting to the top. Our 5-way Elliott wave pattern is hit. On the daily, it's super obvious, right? 5-wave Elliott wave, which I'm calling, and we might start to see the ABC correction to the downside over time. Now, Tesla, zoom out. Before I do anything, let's zoom all the way out. I want to see all the time history, the price history of Tesla. Fibonacci this to get your support and resistance. This is how I do it. Not everyone does it like me. It's fine. It's just how I do it. Okay. And even before trend lines, I would draw my support and resistance. So like I was saying on the stream like 2 days ago, is because of the sell-off that he confirmed he's going to sell. So wow, he sold really fast. Is that true? Let me just check that news. So he wasn't joking around. Let's see the form 4. Okay, he filed this form 4 per his promise. So yeah. And he did, yep. Just today he sold how much $1 million? $800 million he sold. So it's not him, it's probably an institution or somebody managing it for him. But, you know, all this momentum combined, right? And we talked about it on Sunday, is like, it's going to go down, right? And where would it go down? We called it to our support levels, 1138, 1000, 958. There's a gap support down here, right? So if you're paying attention to just the chart, instead of listening to like hype and news, it's just, okay, we're oversold at this. I mean, overbought. Get 2 red days like this. It's like, that's weak. Gap down, that's weak. Then the shorts are saying, okay, it's over. Yesterday. Okay. So our support levels on this Fibonacci, this is also cool. This gap support here moves over to the left. So that's our next line in the sand. Intraday, this thing's going to bounce. It's a battle. It's going to be a battle between options, calls, and puts, right? So I'm not really interested in doing any of this right now, right? I'm not interested. Okay, it's volatile. If you like day trading, Tesla stocks or options, like more power to you. Good luck to you, right? For me though, I know if I just wait and I'm patient, I'm looking for value. I'm looking for value on this thing. I'm looking for a discount on this thing as an investor. Let all the volatility and news get priced in. Let all the sell-off happen. The shorts attack, put options attack. Let it all be done. I want it to be over. And then I'll buy in again. No need to risk capital as a long-term investor. No need for me. So again, the day trading like FOMO hype and stuff online is like, that's not my thing. So we hit our first trend line support here. So you can see I'm already drawing multiple targets as I'm talking. Kind of lost our 1 hour with the bounce. Okay, so this is kind of what I'm saying on Bitcoin too, is you flash crash down. Somewhere here you hit an oversold, and we're going to see if we're going to get follow through bounce or not. Because on Bitcoin, on September 7th, El Salvador, this happened and we failed like that. But Tesla's different. It's a hot stock, a lot of money in this, right? So we're getting some shorts closing their positions and people longs doing some post-market trading. Okay, nice one. Nice one. We did have a upside down head and shoulders on the RSI, another signal. So this is great. We could see a bounce. Yeah, back to like 1147. Okay, that's the next upper target. 1147-ish. Or even like 1112. Okay. This price is not the 100% accurate price. But again, it depends on what time frame you are. If you're a scalper and you only care about 1 minute, 5 minute, then these charts are too broad for you, right? Because this thing is moving. But if I'm a swing trader looking at like 1 hour, 4 hour, sure. I want to see a little higher high test of 1112. Let me get some numbers up here of like 1112 right here. Because if it looks like we're going to uptrend again, I want to see one more bounce to get to an overbought level, pull back down, and this is going to turn to a textbook uptrend. It's possible. But also you have multiple trend lines here that the bears are watching, okay? So I'd be cautious right now. You hit this oversold bounce, right? Because when stocks go 20% or so, right, a lot of people like to take profit. So this is why that's also happening. But again, keep in mind your downside risk. If this rejection fails and we see another continued sell-off, what's that downside risk look like? -3, -6, -9, -12% to downside, because we do have that gap support down here on the longer term chart. Okay, so we have flash crash and then the subsequent bounce. So psychologically, it's how far are we going to bounce up before we see continued downside. You have to think, as an investor, why would I buy Tesla now? That's the question. As an investor, if Elon Musk is selling his shares, why would I buy today? That's the question, right? Because investors are more thinking about the executive C-suite, like the CEOs and the COO, CFO, that kind of thing. But also thinking about the next earnings, right? Next earnings is not until on this calendar, February 2022, next year. So, unless there's a new product launch, service launch, acquisition, merger deal, or something amazing happens with Elon Musk and his team, why would I long right now? You know what I mean? So there's more reasons to sell than to buy right now, in my opinion, because we just had the head and shoulders on the 1 hour. That's a technical sell pattern. We had Elon Musk basically just tell the whole world on Twitter he's selling in the Form 4 form. Okay, he moved really fast. I thought he was gonna wait. I thought he was gonna go a little slower, but okay. He wants to take the profit or whatever for tax reasons. Fine, no worries, right? It's just you wait for the next setup because we already hit the trend line bounce. Okay, if you're longing now, I think we're going to 2,000 Teslas. Like I would just be a little cautious about that. But it depends. If you're a day trader, then yeah, yes, 10% volatility is in the cards. Again, since I'm a swing trader, I am looking more at, I want some deeper value. I want a little bit more deeper value than that. If we had 2 times the downside target, we're already hit our 10%, our 20% would bring us down to 920. I mean, excuse me, 912. To our gap fill. So I'll look for that. If we only look at price, and then we'll move on. If we only look at price, okay, I'm going to erase everything now and just only look at price. Because sometimes when you get these crazy volatility moves, like if you just look at a daily, it's one candlestick, and it's like, it's not telling me that much, except we get a little bit of piercing bullish. We get some follow through. All right. So the way I'll leave it is we have resistance at 1137 and 1184 and 1231 and 1117 above. How did I find that out? Is because you can see right here, here, and the all-time high. We might not test the all-time high right now. We already hit this downside target. So support on the downside is immediate. 1060, 1012, 1000. Okay. And then trend wise, I'm looking at, I have to, let me zoom in a little more. On the 1 hour is, I'm looking at this trend. Is this could just be a lower high. We could go up to 1,120 and then do this again, right? So that's why, unless you catch the bottom of whatever bounce you're trying to trade, is be careful. If you try to long this right now, you get like maybe 1 day of green, and then unless the uptrend does not continue, I'm expecting to see some further sell off, right? Because you have to keep in mind, what is SPY? Where's SPY right now? SPY is up here. Is up here right now. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense for people. What else we got? Gold. Yeah, let's look at some gold, because definitely going to get some correlations here. All I'll say about this is, congratulations to whoever's trading this on the right side. Um, just, let's say if somebody shorted this thing or did options, right? Is still have to have some kind of stop loss, though. You know what I'm saying? Um, right. Obviously, you probably put your stop like way above the all-time high, somewhere up here. But just because we get one relief bounce, the short's not over. The way you know it's over, and you would obviously know, but if this, for some whatever reason, just nonstop rampages uptrend, is like, okay, then it's over. But if you just do this, then it's not over. Okay. Next one, gold. Gold, might have to redraw this chart here. So first off, gold, if we look way back in history, is we were at some serious resistance zone up here at like the 1900s area. Okay, so we've been flagging on the monthly chart. Although there is on the monthly like this upside down head and shoulders, so it's interesting. Interesting. It could just be a consolidation on the weekly right here. Consolidation. And we're hitting this upper trend line on the weekly. On the daily, it's not a relative low area of value, so better, like I was saying, for longs, we had multiple chances this month to try to get in to gold, right? If somebody's going to try to trade gold long term, it was there. 10% volatility from the year. It's kind of a lot. But even as we move in, we had a recent 4-hour oversold just about a week ago. hitting our trend line support. Just broke down below it. Excuse me, but we got quite oversold. Now we're on near the top side. So to me, are we going to break out or not? But we're probably going to cool down first. Up here on the top side. It is looking like a longer term uptrend. So I'm just looking at crypto right now. Okay, so just hit the top of the hour on Bitcoin. New candles on our 1 hour. Let me just look at that for a second. There was a bounce attempt off the 200 EMA. So we'll have to see. So yeah, coming back to gold is you want to watch out because you're at the top of the trend line right now. So if somebody's going to try to long this, I mean, how much downside risk do you have? You have a 5 to 10% downside risk, at least 5%. Excuse me. So 10% on the upside would take us back to this upper trend line right here. Keep looking at Bitcoin on the side right here. Okay. So we're going to see this upside down head and shoulders. If this thing actually goes, would be nice. 3%. Nice move to 1849. Right? Going to want to see that follow through. But the thing is instead of calling it so far away right now, I'm just going to focus on the intraday because all you need to know if you're a trader is, are we at a relative low? The answer is no. We're at a relative high right now, towards the high side. And we turn on our EMAs. Not really below the EMAs, we're at the top side, okay? But if someone's going to believe in the trend, more power to you on the EMA side. Just kind of reminds me of like Dogecoin, this triangle. That in the long term, if this thing goes like this, boom, boom, to the here, we could see a tightening range over time. Because if you think about it, if this thing doesn't break out, it's a pullback and go up. But we could see this thing pull in here as such. So watch out for that on gold. But gold is not correlated with Bitcoin, if somebody was wondering on the request. XAG, let's go to silver. Let's go to silver. And one sec. I'll be right back and we drink some water. Okay, so looking at silver, make sure my mic is on. Looking at silver is we were in a consolidation range for a while, but we hit this kind of topside resistance. Okay, so the only interesting thing about silver is a big upside down head and shoulders looking me right in the face right now. Okay, on silver, very, very interesting. So interesting on silver. So let's see the measure move of this. Ooh, nice 40%, bringing us to the top of here. So this could be a really easy play if this actually works. From whatever reason, I noticed this weekend that the minor stocks, some of these minor stocks like NUGT, looked like it was trying to go bullish. Like, let me look at here. Right? There's this huge, like I'm on NUGT chart right now, the index bull, gold miners index. There's a clear upside down head and shoulders on daily. So I'm thinking like, might want to go long on some of these some metals right now. It's looking really interesting, right? It's okay if crypto's crashing. There's always something else in the market, bull market, right? On NUGT, there's some serious 30% potential upside here. Very, very interesting trade right here. So right at the right shoulder back test, but there's a lot of downside risk, like 10% to like a 15% risk. This is more of like a swing trade investment thing. So going back to, but if you look at gold, you don't really see that. I guess you can kind of see it in just like maybe an intraday setup. There might have been an intraday. Silver though is really obvious, so I might long silver. Very interesting. On silver, what's the play? The risk is like a 15% to 5% downside risk. Like, hey, no problem. Let's take a look at the ETFs. Maybe we'll find something else, like a GLD ETF. Okay. I guess there was a little bit of this kind of upside down head and shoulders psychological. I bet the silver ETF is much more obvious. Yeah, see again, on the silver ETF, I'm looking at this thing right here. Suspicious. Suspicious. After a downtrend, okay, that's what we want to see on silver. So right here. On the ETF, 15% upside straight to our all-time high. Let's take a look at natural gas and U.S. oil related to Bitcoin. So we got USO. Here we have U.S. oil, and we had our gap fill retest right here. And you kind of really want to see if this thing is going to reject down or not. So let's look at our trend line. You can see the lower trend line bound is like a $54 to like a top side. Actually, that's not a good one. We could use this trend line probably here. That makes more sense. Like that. Just box it in and then get some support and resistance. So you know the energy play. If you've been a trader for a while now, you know the energy stocks have been really pumping. But I remember saying this upside down head and shoulders might go, right? And so like a 10%, actually 20%, very nice. But now the trend is a little bit less clear. It's consolidating. Hmm. If this turns into a head and shoulders type of play, let's just pretend hypothetically. If we get downside on this, it might be 6% to downside. That brings back down to $51 oil, which just so happens to be our trend line support down there. So I'll be very cautious of that if you're trying to like play oil right now, because there's plenty of room for oil to go down. Next, UNG already getting some fading down on the natural gas charts. So again, we have this resistance zone. We had this large move right here, and this went basically double the target to our resistance zone up here. We have our trend line down here. So we're testing our trend line support on UNG. I would watch out for this because it looks like it's in a downtrend right here, right? It's mixed. It's hitting our trend line support on the 1638 level, but it is downtrending still. So we might bounce up once before a retest of the trend line on the downside. So again, this trade is very, very obvious. There's a potential head and shoulders that the bulls have been trying to defend against. But if we go down 16%, going down to 1566, if we go down additional 2 times the target, you can see some additional pain on natural gas. We'll just do one target. It might eventually end up at 1324 downside target if natural gas bulls cannot save the support here at like a 16 or 15. 16, right? So just watch out for that. Very nice trade. just started to fade down in the intraday. 15-minute. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is like the flag. See, this is the flag set. Okay, this is a perfect example of maybe what might happen on Bitcoin eventually. Okay, but this is a different industry because Bitcoin was literally, flash crashed where natural gas is in the energy industry. But that's what I'm saying. Pretend this is like your Bitcoin flash crash. All right, let me turn everything off. You can just turn everything off. Pretend this is your Bitcoin flash crash, right? You're fading down under the resistances, but at some point when it gets really, really low, shorts are going to say, okay, we're done. This is why you can't always trust RSI, right? It was just down low for 3-4 days straight. And then you get some upside reversal, right? So that's the trend I'm looking for on Bitcoin, because Bitcoin right now does not look like this. Bitcoin right now does not look like this right now. And then you could see if it bounces up, you can also crash down again, right, on the intraday chart. So just picture this in your mind. Picture this, freeze frame. Let me go back to Bitcoin. Where are we right now? Boom, the first crash leg on the way down, right? So what I'm waiting for is you get this crash down. You actually have a nice consolidation, decent consolidation, but I'm waiting for, are we going to get a test up before a crash down, and then we might see another bounce up on Bitcoin. If it's really bad, there is no retest up. If it's really bad, it just goes down. If it's really good for whatever reason, there is no, it's just bounce up like that fast. So what it feels like though is because the stock market is, I think it's going to be a longer one, like a longer drawn out. All the traders who got stopped out sell. Okay, we might try to get this, but then people are like thinking there's no momentum anymore. Okay, we'll go down again. Watch out for that. Okay, does anybody have any requests more for stocks? Because crypto, we kind of went over a lot of the setups that might happen. Just holding support, like watch your downside levels on whatever time frame you're doing. See if we're gonna bounce up or not. I guess everyone's just doing Tesla. So let's try to look at a little bit more stocks now. Here, this might be better to get some bird's eye view. Let's look at the stock market sectors. Okay, we have our 11 sectors, I believe, here of the stock market. So now we're kind of dissecting the stock market right now. See what's strong, what's weak. Let's start with financials on a daily. Just get a visual. All right, is we're looking at this year. Okay, we'll look at that one. Just get a quick visual. Is our financials in an uptrend for the past like month or so, and just kind of in our short-term higher high, higher low pattern to like a 39, right? Might see fading down. We are kind of fading down in this short term. I have to look at a 4-hour for this. So our financial sector fading down in the short term. Where are support levels? 39.70, 39.35, 38. Next, energy topping out. So you could see it in the market. Financials kind of pulling back. This is what I'm saying. Like this. Energy, what do we got in energy? We're consolidating to the side, right? And I thought we were going to have a huge head and shoulders, but we didn't. We actually had an upside down head and shoulders, and we blasted up to the upside. But now what do we get? We get a double top up here. Just like Bitcoin. You have to remember, Bitcoin went from like a upside down head and shoulders, remember that? To a double top right here. So we have some pretty serious correlation with stock. So you kind of have to focus on stock market too on the side, at least. Because energy, if this is the top, we could see some serious downside, right? Because you have a base, accumulation, markup, distribution, markdown. Wyckoff method, right? So if we pull it back down to 55, all these targets up in here, 55, 53, 52, 50. Anything above 55 is okay still. $55. Our utilities still trying to hold. Our industrials, much like energy, the industrial stocks went crazy. The infrastructure stocks for like 2 days because of President Biden's remarks, even up to today. We have our healthcare stocks with the rally, but our previous call of head and shoulders did work, and then we boosted back up. So again, it's kind of like long term, we're getting stuck here, and then we might actually long term retest onto the downside, or at least halfway here. Strangely, because you could tell this chart is like Bitcoin, right? We had a crash, El Salvador crash, and then the rebound, but we tried to test the resistance, but it was too much, and we pulled back. Very, very suspicious. Consumer staples, nice rebound, but again, just testing the lower EMA. Nothing to really worry about long term because we're in a long term uptrend. See, what trend is you want to see clear reversals. This is how I'm able to like avoid major disasters in the market most of the time. Is you have an uptrend and then you'll get some sideways action, right? This is up on the left side. And you have some sideways action and you get the bear breakdown from that, and then you get the downside. Okay. Then you have some reversal at some point or a pattern, and then the trend reverses. So where we are in time right now is it's at a potential maybe sideways consolidation, potential reversal pattern. That's why it's yellow flag for me as an investor. So why consumer discretionary over? I mean, this had its wild pump up and it's just fading back down. This is like Tesla. So again, there's a relationship here with all this. You see, Tesla, what is it? It's a product. People can buy it if they have enough money, or lease the car or rent it or whatever they want, right? Or just follow Elon Musk for fun. But consumer discretionary, this kind of means that, to me, a lot of these stocks where people are spending their money, they're had good earnings, like really good earnings, meaning people spent their money in the past 3 months, so the company's made a lot of money, and so the value goes higher. This chart looks like almost the same as Tesla. So just watch out for some literal, same thing as Tesla's. Watch out for either a downtrend, right? At some point, it might stop at the middle here, somewhere in the middle of the move, usually to get a bounce. If it's real bad, it'll retrace all the way back down. We have our materials, much like energy, but it's floating up here in space right now. So I could see an LA wave pattern already setting up. The 5-wave, boom, 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 like that. And then ABC correction down to like 83-ish. Could be in the cards. Our real estate sector, again, everything kind of had this move. Crashed down and on good earnings, but it's at a resistance point now. What I'm concerned about is long term. Is this going to turn into a double top and we're going to retrace all the way back down to $44 on the real estate sector? That'd be really bad. Because you have to remember, Evergrande China problem is not over. That thing keeps popping up in the news that they can't pay off their debt, unfortunately. Uh-oh, did my stream freeze? Can somebody confirm on YouTube, is my YouTube stream still alive? It looks like it froze or something. Just let me know. It's like going in and out. Okay. So XLK, same deal. Technology sector. We had a big break of our resistance and just went a little too high, a little too fast. Just like Tesla, a little too high, too fast. We need to cool off. Okay, so on a weekly, we could pull back all the way down to 159 and still maintain an uptrend. It's okay. We might start to see weekly consolidation starting this week. Yeah, so someone said my YouTube stream is frozen, so it looks like it's back on now. So restream issue. Server issue. Okay, and the last one, communications, before we go next, is this is kind of weak here in the communication sector, and it's obvious to you. I mean, what kind of communications company can you think of right now that's having some kind of big event or something? So we could see downside. This is head and shoulders. Downside target 8% to 16% to downside if it gets really bad. Nice move, but it's getting concerning. Is you have to think in the back of your mind, is that a worst case scenario? At a worst case scenario for stocks, we could enter into a market crash. Okay. For like whatever you're thinking about. If you're thinking about stocks, if you think about crypto, we could enter into a market crash now. And you're asking why? Is because the Federal Reserve is starting their tapering program, meaning they're going to reduce the amount of fiscal stimulus that they've been injecting into the stock market in the USA economy, the stock market, bonds to be exact. So if that stops and people cannot hold the market up on our own 2 feet, meaning hedge funds, institutions, retail traders, right? If everyone says, okay, actually, I think we're done here in the market and we're going to crash down for whatever reason, big pullback, people are going to sell, stop losses getting triggered, and you see market crash, pullback. That will most likely affect Bitcoin to some extent. The fear, we are seeing continued sell-off at the beginning of this Asian market open the past 22 minutes here. And we might need to circle back to crypto at the end of the stream. So again, watch your support levels on the downside. The flag looks like it broke bear, but we are double bottom. Here, let me just go back to the chart. Can't just talk about it. So what I'm talking about is on crypto. This is happening right now. On the hourly, okay, so when I started the stream, we were about in this green candle right here. So we're about to retest our bottom support on downside. This is why you need to set alerts. And if you're a day trader, just watch it. 15-minute, we lost that. We got rejected, okay? So we're not going up for now. Okay, so I would watch for the break of 64,000 to the downside if that happens. Because on our RSI, if I can pull it up, there's plenty of room for one more down push. Usually happens. And again, you have to think about if people wake up into a huge red in crypto market, like what do we think they're going to do? Most people will probably panic sell. Most people. Depends on where they bought too. If somebody bought Bitcoin at like 30,000, no problem. No problem really. But if somebody bought at 60,000, 60, like right about where we bought, they would have a problem in their account right now. So I think a lot of example, beginner traders just panic sell right now. Just panic sell or stop loss out. Hedge funds, institutions, they're going to short. Yeah, we just hit that flash crash support. That's why it's important to hold that, put your alerts on, right? Because if I walked away from the computer, I would not understand and see this happening right now. But where we go on the downside target, it looks like it wants to retest 63, 656, 62, and 60. So the upper 60,000s. We are about to fight for that right now. It is interesting to note, though, that on Elliott wave, I'm trying to look at my daily here. Yeah, it could have been because I was looking at this Elliott wave here, here, like this type of thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on a longer term, and then we just went sideways. That was kind of weird. It was kind of odd that happened in the market, and then we had upside down head and shoulders with a bullet break and test. So as long as we stay above our short-term EMA, our 61, our purple line here, that's been our guide. Once we kind of lose that short-term EMA and we start fading down in the next intraday, then we have a problem. Okay, what I'm also concerned about is long-term is if this turns into a double top like that, then definitely bears would probably want to capitalize on that to like 15% to downside. If that happens, could go 20%, but 50% is right at our 50,000 mark. So I want to watch out for that. Again, there's not that much information on the 5 minute. It's just turning into September 7th all over again. So we just play between these two support levels right here. I mean, support and resistance levels. That's it. So intraday day trader, they are buying. They're buying long on the bounce right now, trying to scalp this thing. But you know, your line in the sand right now is what, 64,000. So the risk to reward is very tight here. It's like a 0.5% for scalping, right? If you're a swing trader, you're hoping that it's going to flag and bounce nicely on a lower high in the next week or so, next couple of days. That's a 3% target. That's much higher. But if you're an investor, it's like doesn't really, you know, there's some loss of momentum, right? But the MACD right here, the histogram, this thing is building. And usually if it takes like, how many days is that? Weeks before we might see another up move on Bitcoin. Like you want to see the cycle of selling finish and then see the cycle of buying continue. So anywhere between 53,000 to 60,000 is our support level. Again, it depends on your time frame. Did I miss some requests? Let's see. Okay, yeah, sorry, I missed a request, Stan. So let me do RUNE and FISV. Let me do RUNE first since we're on crypto. So RUNE, very heavily correlated. We've done this one before. Let me do it again. RUNE, there's a very, very clear sign right on the charts that this thing is about to come down. There's a straight up double top right here on the daily. The 1 hour too, losing momentum. Boom, that's why we came down. So RUNE, right on the daily chart, staring me right in the face. Clear double top, mini resistance zone. All right, but if we bring our Fibonacci's up again, right up to here, we did see our higher high, higher low, right? That's why RUNE has to hold support above 1160. If we pierce down this far to like $10, anything below $10, then the daily uptrend is at risk. Now let's move inside. Our hourly, we're in a clear hourly downtrend on RUNE. Okay, so I'm not going to try to catch a falling knife on this guy. Head and shoulders on the 1 hour. Let's measure the downside move. Can't see that. 25%, just like a Bitcoin. So basically, RUNE is just copying Bitcoin. So 25 to 50% down on RUNE would take us to either $10 or about $7-ish range. Because again, if you really look carefully, this is a triangle setup that broke bull into a bearish pattern. So it's the same story. Bitcoin was upside down, head and shoulders into a double top down like that. All right. So those are the two levels I would watch out for. If you need easy help, just Fibonacci it, and you can see where the price is like bouncing off from. If I'm not on stream. So if I'm not on stream, just, please watch your support levels and try not to FOMO in on every day trade, because if it's September 7th all over again, it's going to go down for like a week or two probably. Meaning fighting in the market. And then your next request was FISV Inc. Okay, FISV. Could you give me the ticker symbol, please? Because I'm not seeing it on TradingView. So please just let me know the ticker symbol, and we'll come back to that one. Okay, Digibyte. OG Digibyte. All right, so let me use I'll just use this one. I haven't looked at Digibyte for a long time. Okay, so Digibyte. First thing is, this is not all the price history on Digibyte. Let me find a bigger Better one. Maybe Bitfinex. Yeah, we use Bitfinex. At least get like a year or two of data on here. So the Fibonacci here, I'll do is low to high, and it's still in its higher low, but it could fail because what I'm talking about right here in this price, right here in the blue circle, because if Bitcoin goes down instead of up, this thing will just come down to retest the 3418. That's too many numbers on the bottom. Okay, so you can see that right there. This is a lot easier to understand, the digibyte. It was in the symmetrical triangle, and we just got rejected down from the top side resistance. That's why we're pulling back down. Okay, so if this has conservative plus or minus 25% from the breakout, so 25% would bring us back down to 3543, which happens to be our Fibonacci level on the bottom side. If it breaks out to the top side, it would bring us to like a 5954, which happens to be our other Fibonacci resistance. I would just play between those two levels at this point because the volatility of Bitcoin is, I would highly focus on Bitcoin instead of Digibyte. Digibyte is such a small coin. If you're looking for maximum value on Digibyte, like just try to wait for this thing to, whatever you think the lowest low of this spot of Digibyte is going to be for Digibyte and Bitcoin. Yeah, so anywhere maybe under 5 cents. Definitely 3 cents and 2 cents is very appealing. But it's not completely over. It would be nice if this started to a higher high and go to 10 cents. But because of the Bitcoin crash right now, there's probably not that much momentum to the upside on Digibyte right now. Also, it's a very low liquidity coin. You could see on the intraday, nobody's really trading this. So please watch out for this as a day trader. As a swing trader, you want to see a little bit more information than this, like because people tried to buy this thing up, we lost the support right here, which would be our upside support like that. So we could be turning into a downtrend. Very subtle, but it has to do this, right? And pulling back down. FISV. Oh, okay. Now it shows up. So NASDAQ. So first thing, it's a NASDAQ stock. It's a tech stock. Okay, so we know that Tesla's also in the NASDAQ. So Tesla crashing is definitely affecting NASDAQ. So you have to understand that sometimes companies like FISV or just any other company in the NASDAQ will just follow along. Even if there's no reason, they'll just follow along. FISV just had earnings, okay, but still maybe not enough to pump the coin, not the coin, but the stock up to higher highs. Let's take a look at this very interesting chart. Pfizer, wow, monster stock. This is an old company. Started at 27 cents. Okay, so I might not be able to Fibonacci the whole thing. It might not make sense. Let's see here. But weekly, you see, we reached our double top weekly. April. Okay, this is why it's important to stay long term as an investor. Is there could be potential downside additional on Pfizer. You have the head and shoulders weekly. It could take like a year to play out or 6 months, but this thing could go down 15 to 30% additional. We didn't hit the first target yet. If this is a real head and shoulders, so if this thing goes down like 30%, it'd be $75 Pfizer. So that's way below your average price. It's a maybe. It could happen. Depends on the U.S. stock market, but it could happen. Short-term trend lines. Yeah, we just hit that bottom trend line. So now you see on the weekly, we're on this bottom side. So I'll watch this support very carefully of where we just bounced off from, where we are right here on the downside. On our H4. So you can see lower, lower, high, lower, low, lower, high, lower, low, flagging to the side, right? So we just had earnings, and you want to factor that into whatever your analysis is and your view on this company. But again, sometimes if we have a stock market crash, then Pfizer is probably not going up. FISV will probably go down. We did have a bounce though. That was nice. But again, the weekly pattern is the stock market needs to recover for FISV to try and rebound up. It's building, but it might take like a month or two, couple months. But for now, in the short term, this is the pattern you're playing in right now. Let's just pretend if somebody bought right now, downside risk is immediate 10% downside risk to or 5% risk to downside. But just be careful. I'll be careful on this one right now. Actually, you could see it on the daily. I'll end it on here. Is you can actually see the head and shoulders setting up here in the blue. That's still a 15% downside risk. So right at 100 is our line in the sand. If we lose 100 on this thing, it's probably going down further to like a 85 or like a 80, 75 to the downside. Okay. Okay, Pfizer. So you have to realize that Pfizer is not at a low price anymore. It used to be a long time ago on this last leg up. And Pfizer has a lot of news dealing with vaccines and such. The antiviral pill. Yes, now that's the new thing, right? The pill starting with the Merck company. It's all about vaccine pills, not about shots anymore in the stocks. It's changed. So for Pfizer, I would just be careful if you have an all-time high resistance of $50. And there is this lower trend line here. There's two down here. Here and here. Okay, we bounced off that pivot point, but now you can see just kind of like Bitcoin, it's not at a super overbought level, but I mean, literally everyone's just looking at 50. So the uptrend on the intraday is here. It's building, but you have such a strong gap. It's literally stuck between 49.37 and 47.16. These are the only two levels. You could probably put two alerts, just highlight this right here. And whichever way it breaks will get you your continuation. But the fact that we're still up here in the overbought range on RSI, in the short term, because of what's happening in the market, you might see like just one quick pullback. It's still an uptrend though on the 1 hours. This thing's still going up, but it's consolidating right now. That's kind of weak. So the pill news has obviously been priced in on Pfizer. Okay, let me see what the measure move of this upside inverse head and shoulders of 48%. Wow, we went triple the target. Okay, so I'd be a little concerned about this range right here. So hopefully that makes sense in the short term. Because, let me see, did that news come out today? That came out today. Let me just double check. There's that whole misinformation issue over the weekend. There was like fake news as well. I was surprised somebody was targeting Pfizer like that. It depends. Okay, so yes, there was bullish news over the past couple days, but again, this consolidation flag right here is a little bit cause for concern for me. So all I can really say for you is just watch the two breaks of these blue lines, 49 or 47. So obviously, if it breaks bear, you're looking at your support. Obvious support 44 on the downside. If it breaks bull, okay, 50, retest that and back up to the races higher. This pattern, if it's gonna break bull, it really needs to break bull. If it doesn't, like I mean, we need to go up a lot to 60 to really confirm this. Watch the indexes. I would watch it. Let's see who. Anybody else have any more requests? I know today was kind of a more casual stream. It's more educational, I would say, than just pure TA. Any last questions on stock or crypto? Okay, it's completely silent in the chat. All right, so maybe we'll close it off with crypto because I know we have a lot of crypto traders. I know I went really long. Thank you for watching and joining. So let's finish off here. Finish out Bitcoin. Bitcoin. Again, what's going on here? The flag still. We'll move intraday. Still consolidating, still flagging here inside of here. It turned into a symmetrical triangle actually. So the market equilibrium for now, for today's move, 1%, 1% down would take us to 64. 1% up would take us to 65. And we just watch for the break of our support either side. Either side. Really, really, you can play it real tight. But again, I'm not a scalper or day trader anymore, so one red day on the longer term chart is like not significant. Although the pattern of the double top was significant of this. That you hit a double resistance, that's a real sell pattern. That's why bears, they just jumped on it so aggressively. They wanted that so bad. Right. And just rewinding also when we're looking at this upside down head and shoulders here, the fact that we pulled back, that was a little bit suspicious to me. Because if it was a real bull move, we should have went straight up like that from here on the beginning of October, but we did not. So that means there's some extra hesitation in this 60 to 65,000 range right here. So I would be a little bit careful on crypto. I'm not very hyped on crypto yet because longer term, I need to see us never come back down below 65,000 if we break up from this again. The momentum is building, it's there, but usually for this thing to really go, it takes, let's see how long it takes. From some range here, it goes up like 50%. How long did that take? A month, right? So we got to see where Bitcoin is at the end of the year, not just the end of the week. All right. Amazon. Someone asking me on YouTube, Amazon, this will be the last one for today. Amazon's move for today. What are my thoughts? First, though, I got to start off big. We Fibonacci this guy. Amazon, such a beautiful stock. Move wise. Here we go. All right. We were in this consolidation range for a long time. So that's the first thing you need to know about Amazon. So we were in here, stuck in here for a long time. I mean, we could actually put it into a channel. Okay, so we just pulled back down to the channel, the top of the middle heart line, the half line here. Although this should have been an upside down head and shoulders, but again, these setups are not always 100% perfect. So one person could think of it as if someone is a bull, we could think, oh, we're just back testing the neckline support right here, like a 3480 range, the heart line, like right here. We could just be back testing that because if we're starting our ascent, it'll be just a higher low. But if the market, the stock indexes pull back down, this is a issue because we also have a resistance right at the top ceiling, right at above 36,000, 3,600. All right, you have to move intraday to get a little bit more information, probably answer your question. It's still there, the 4 hour, 1 hour uptrend. The fact we had a black crows, 3 black crows, is stock market pullback. Also some indecision in the market. These are the 2 trend lines I'm really looking at right here. Here's where I would Fibonacci for some extra clarity. We just hit the 236 level. Right, so we lost momentum on the RSI. That's why we're pulling back on a lot of these big stocks. But just like Tesla, we hit a 5-minute, 15-minute low purple RSI bounce. And the question is, tomorrow morning, 6:30, 6 o'clock overnight, are we going to get a bounce on Amazon up to like a 3,500 range? So it's low, but it's not the lowest low. Here's a good example. Let me, I hope you can see this. If we just look at, when was this? End of October, flash crash on earnings. The RSI was very similar. So if you want to try to find some kind of correlation, I'm circling this right here. And then I'm circling this right here. So you can imagine one potential scenario might be like this, where you find the low purple RSI bottom and you flag up for like a day, just for the shorts to close their position, and then they restart the short. But here the stock market continues, so I'm not expecting this to happen. Okay, the rally on Amazon. I'm just saying we might see a bounce up to maybe 35 tomorrow if we don't panic sell in the morning, first thing. And then maybe the shorts will try to fade back down, right? Because they're trying to establish the lower high, if this is going to be the lower high bounce, and then try to hit this lower low on Amazon. If it's going to be textbook, it might not always be like that. That's one scenario. All right, so thank you so much, everyone, for watching and joining. I hope you enjoyed today's stream on crypto and stocks. I am streaming live on TradingView, YouTube, Twitch. I also have a free Discord for anybody who wants to join that. And if you if you like this education and live stream, go ahead and give me a follow on any of these platforms. A cheer donation is always appreciated here on TradingView or YouTube to buy me coffee and keep the stream going. Really appreciate it. Hope everybody has a good next couple of days, and we'll try to keep our emotions in check for the crypto market, especially when you see all red on the charts. We just get our technical analysis set up, and we play those levels in the TA, in the technical analysis. So hope everybody has a good week. I might stream one more time this week, depending on the market. So I might see you then. If not, I'll see you next week. Thank you so much. Hope you have a nice day and night. See you next time. Bye-bye.